Recently on this channel, we released a video titled 5 Tips for Building Awesome Settlements in Fallout 4. We had a blast putting it together, but very quickly discovered it barely scratched the surface for strategies to improve our settlement building skills. If only it was as simple as going from noob to pro in 5 easy steps. Still, the purpose of practice isn't to do something right once, it's to do something right until it's impossible to do it wrong. That's why today we're at it again by showing you 5 tips for building awesome settlements in Fallout 4, Part 2. When it comes to settlement construction, nothing puts a stop to a build faster than insufficient resources. This forces players to venture out into the wasteland in search of whatever materials they need to continue building. Whether we're clearing gunners out of the Mass Pike interchange for the 23rd time, or visiting Diamond City Surplus for the latest sale on brooms, a healthy dose of caps and ammunition are absolute must-haves for any intrepid settlement builder. For players that haven't done much with the settlement system, it might come as a bit of a surprise that both settlers and hostile NPCs that attack our settlements can give us a fairly steady supply of both. Due to the way that the game handles NPC ammunition availability, an NPC can fire indefinitely with only a single round of ammunition in their inventory so long as it's the right caliber for whatever weapon they have available. Since most NPCs spawn with anywhere from 3 to 10-ish rounds of ammunition in their inventory, and certain perks can increase the quantity and variety, it's not difficult to open a settler's inventory, take all but a single round of ammunition, and go about our lives. Some settlers also arrive at a settlement with multiple outfits, a backup weapon, and some food, increasing the items we can repurpose for build resources or simply sell for caps. Additionally, many raiders, gunners, and super mutants that attack our settlements also have grenades in their inventories, as well as weapons, armor, and other basics that can be treated similarly. A large stash of grenades is often a great way to stock up on lots of junk items and shipments of rarer materials like copper, adhesive, and concrete, often for little or no cost. With the right perks, a person can even go an entire playthrough without ever taking a loss on a single transaction with a vendor. Love it or hate it, the perk system in Fallout 4 allows you to play your way with little worry of permanently messing up your character and needing to respec or start all over if you want to change playstyles. Sadly, a hidden side effect of the perk system is the fact that our ability to construct certain objects is locked away behind certain perks, which may have minimum level requirements. Other objects might require the completion of quests, reading certain magazines, or visiting certain locations. If your planned build requires objects that are only accessible after level 40 or by visiting a location in a dangerous portion of the map, maybe it's best to leave the settlement vacant at lower levels rather than building a bunch of temporary stopgap items that will only need to be scrapped later on for a net loss of building materials. If you're on your first playthrough, then this may require you to do some reading on game wikis to find out what objects are hidden behind quests or perks, but doing so can greatly save a lot of time and energy in the long run. Don't be afraid to experiment. We all have our favorite build sets, and the more we use them, the better we tend to look and function over time. But one way we can continue to prove is to simply get out there and try new things. Whether we're trying to build a settlement entirely out of buses and rail cars, or whether we're building 20-story skyscrapers, developing new structures or organizational patterns can help us continue to develop our settlements and make improvements over time. Building on our opening statements in point 1 on this list, it's easy to run out of a specific resource that grinds our settlement building groove to a screeching halt. Lucky for us, most locations in F4 reset after a certain amount of in-game time. It makes sense to revisit some locations you've previously cleared to see if the resources you need are back in action. Some locations contain more of a specific resource than others due to in-world explanations for them being there, such as visiting Hardware Town for all that oil-based paint stacked in the back, or clearing Macrofish packing plant for all those aluminum trays in the basement. It could be extremely helpful to make mental note of locations with high concentrations of those precious raw resources, just in case you run out and need to make another run for supplies. Okay, this one is more to prevent annoyances than to help you build better settlements, but we figured it was worth throwing in here anyway. Power armor in Fallout has always been the ultimate expression of personal badassery and unstoppable might. With all the suits that litter the wasteland and the fact that the fusion cores that power them are finite and consumable resources, it makes sense that some of our settlements would have a suit or two laying around. Many players choose not only to store their power armor, but also display it for all to see. The problem is that the player isn't the only one that knows power armor armor is a game changer, and during settlement attacks, NPCs will make a mad dash for the closest set of power armor in order to tip the scales in their favor. And it's not just settlers, attackers, and even Minuteman patrols that are happening by will also clamber for suits of power armor if they see a chance. To add insult to injury, the chassis will be lost forever if the NPC dies while wearing it, and if they survive the encounter, Minutemen will simply march off into the Commonwealth with your power armor. An easy way to avoid this is to remove the fusion cores from your power armor when you store it. This prevents NPCs from attempting to access it. However, if you've gifted any of your settlers a Gatling laser, they will use the fusion core that you gave them for ammunition to power a suit of power armor instead. If you followed the 1 round of ammunition rule from earlier, this is doubly stupid behavior because without a fusion core in their inventory, they have no choice but to fight unarmed. NPCs may also go rummaging through containers for the precious fusion cores, so if you want to keep your power armor, it might be best to just make sure that there's no chance of anyone getting their grubby paws on it in the first place. And there you have it, homies, 5 more ways to improve your settlement building skills in Fallout 4. Was there anything we missed? Let us know down below. As always, a thumbs up is always appreciated, and subscribing will let you know every time we post another video. If you have any ideas for future content on this channel, we'd love to hear them. As always, it's been real. Until next time, stay safe, and I hope to see you all here next time on Gray Gaming.